3.2 million.
Yeah,
Okay,
like I don't understand
the
how that.
next one is Lost Ark at 1.3.
Like, are we believing those PUBG numbers? Like, what was going on at that time where
That's
PUBG?
Steam.
I know, like, but something had to have been fluffed. Like
I
something,
mean, every streamer,
and that's when it wasn't free to
paid
play,
or
though.
unpaid, was playing
I mean,
PUBG.
I know, and the crazy
And it
thing
was like
is,
the first real battle royale that was considered on a new engine. Like
and it,
H1 was a battle royale, but it was like
well, it was
way
just,
more like
and it transferred like
cartoony in its
three,
aspect, you know?
H1. What was it, H1Z1, right? That
Yeah.
transferred like three different ownerships. Originally, that was Sony. Like people forget that was Sony's game before they sold it.
Yeah, it was just like it was a fun game, but it was a very and PUBG was also flawed, but PUBG
Yeah.
was at least like realistic, quote unquote, you
Right.
know?
Right.
But that
Um,
3.2 million, that's insane.
PUBG's that's crazy too because it wasn't free to play. You know, like that's people
Yeah.
paying $30
That
to
that
do it.
happened January 2018. Counter-Strike's all-time high was at April 2020.
Yeah, it was during the major. I think like during the major, I think that many people just got caught up in it. Rust is top 8 for a game that I've never played at the moment. Team good on Team Fortress for still being in the top 10 for active players right now.
Isn't that crazy? And to think that they won't like
Touch it. Like you have a top 10 game on Steam consistently, and you don't touch it.
maybe that's the problem.
Like they want it to die to just move
No,
on.
yeah, well, they're maybe not want it to die. They're just wait, like, hey, when this player base dies off, okay, we'll make a new one and get back into the top 10 easily.
Just
I mean, PUBG is
insane.
number 7 still.
Yeah.
Like, even till this day, that's kind of whack.
Yup. I just think it's Team Fortress, man. That's a game I would
Before
like
we
to go
start,
back.
Destiny had a new expansion, so when we get bored of Lost Ark and are looking for a
Yeah,
tweener game, that's what we
I've
should go
heard it's
back
pretty
and
good.
play. I've heard good things about it too. I just couldn't, and I honestly, the other night, I was even thinking, I was like, man, that'd be kind of fun too. But I was like, I can't manage both. I don't even want to
No
try.
way. No way.
And like Destiny is a grind it game too. Like you can't be like, oh, hop on and do one mission for an
Right.
hour and a half.
No, it's you have to hop on and completely do
But we
everything.
should wait to do that together and just try and do the story in like
Yeah.
maybe a 2 night span because I've heard the co-op is a lot of fun on this one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how Destiny's so boring if you're playing alone, you know?
Yeah,
Like it
it is.
not to like its fault. It's just a very good co-op game. Like it's
No.
one of those games that do real how we complain about Lost Ark, how it does a poor job on the co-op aspect.
Yeah.
Destiny does a really good job as far as like just grouping up. The party size is the only funky part about Destiny.
Did you know that there's a group finder in Lost Ark?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
In the
Like
top
that's how I
right.
should be looking for groups now when I'm trying to do the higher level content,
Yeah.
not just matchmaking. I
Right.
had no idea.
So you can actually
I
like
just saw it the other day. I was like, oh,
get a
I
proper
can find a
feel
boss
for it.
and like find a real group and see what their ranks are before I go in.
Yep. Yep.
Didn't know.
Yep. I knew that there. That's why, like they say, like as a gun lancer and stuff, that's where you always look because you're not going to have an issue finding a group like
Yeah.
your gun lancer. So I watched a bunch of PvP stuff. I feel like I have 1,000% better understanding. So
Yeah, then like did you understand like how they were talking about the stun aspect of how that works a little bit?
no, I'll still have to look that up, but I at least have
That's
like
like
the
really
combo.
important to get a basic understanding
Yeah.
of the 3 different types of stuns in the game
Well, I
because
know
they're
like
like
paralyze. Yeah, I just don't know. I was trying to look up to know who has the paralyzing immunity or whatever, and that's what I don't. I can't. I'll have to look up how to tell or whatever. So
yeah, it's like understanding how look up staggering and push.
yeah,
Like understand those 2 terms and how they relate to like your character
yep.
because you get push immunities and stagger
Well, I
immunities
know
when
those.
doing certain
There's
moves.
the one. The chain ability. It doesn't. It's not affected by characters that have paralyzing immunity or whatever. And I'm like, okay,
Got to tier 2 on the sorceress today.
paralysis immunity.
Yeah, paralysis.
So either way, I'll look that up after the show. All right, you ready to do this?
Yep.
Hello and welcome to episode 375 of the Center Ring Esports podcast. And this is going to be the best episode ever because we, of course, have plenty of Yikes of the Weeks to get to. Little follow-up on our esports war in Ukraine topic from last week because, as we mentioned, that is an ever-evolving situation, especially in the world of esports, so we will discuss that. And we had the first CDL major over the weekend. I attended, saw some of you there. That was lovely. So we'll recap that a little bit and just talk about that event. But before we do, let me tell you about Philly Esports. They are good friends and sponsor of the show. You know them very well. You've probably competed in their tournaments because they're completely free to play to you, to all. So you can get you and all of your buddies together. No excuses, unless you're gamer dads, because then you always have an excuse. They host free online events. Go ahead, phillyesports.gg. You can sign up right now. Coming up, the April 2nd, they just announced it today. Rocket League 3v3 in-person event. This, don't quote me on this, but this might be their first in-person event since COVID. So, very big deal for that. So if you are in the Philly area, you want to attend, you want to get your boys together, it's a $2,000 prize pool, completely free to sign up. So there's no excuse if you're in the area. And guess what? If you're not, they always have online events as well. So keep an eye on it. phillyesports.gg. Sign up. Go pro. It's easy peasy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rambo here, coach and GM of the Dallas Empire, and you're listening to The Center Ring.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of The Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. This is episode 375, coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date is March 7th, 2022. The time is 9:15 p.m. Central. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. Join the Discord. Get in on game nights, which is kind of like any night nowadays. Impromptu. If you're playing Lost Ark, we're still on that grind. But anything. It won't take me much to play some Counter-Strike. So if you ask, I'm in. But do that on our Discord. My name is Tim. I'll be your captain for this journey into esports, and alongside me, as always, is my best friend, my brown friend. It's Anuj. What's up?
Call of Duty back in the show, man. It feels good. You got a little taste of the action that we'll talk about, but this was like a really good COD weekend, so I'm excited to talk about it.
It got me super excited for the next Call of Duty.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. You know, this gave me no interest in wanting to jump in and play this one.
No Vanguard.
But I still have it in my blood, I realized. You know, like when the right game comes out, I'll jump back in and play again.
Yeah, all I was thinking was, damn, this next one's going to be really good if it has ranked.
The year, man. You sound like a pro now.
Right, yes. If this has ranked, the next COD will be so good. And at least you also know, because it's not going to be, like, it's going to have a 2-year shelf life. So, you know.
You know, it's like, it could be worth your time.
Like, I'm okay spending $60 if I know I'm going to have 2 years to play the game as opposed to 8 months. So, but yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Anuj, I have some sad news.
Oh no.
This controller right here by me. See this? My controller, don't use it very often. But as you can tell, if you're watching on stream, for those who are not, this right here is an original Xbox 360 corded controller. I have used this thing for probably close to 15 years. It has been with me through all of my LAN parties, all of the tournaments where I went pro in both Rainbow Six Vegas 1 and 2. It is my baby. It is, to me, the best controller in the world, bar none. But it is 2022. And although it's still going strong to no fault of its own, Daddy's got to upgrade to wireless. And I did buy a new Xbox wireless controller today. It will be here tomorrow.
Congratulations.
What's that?
Are you sad? Are you sad?
Honestly, because you know I'm a weirdo like this.
Yeah.
It was like it was in my cart for like 2 hours, and I honestly felt bad buying a new controller when this one was still working.
Is it gonna go on a shelf or is it getting boxed? Like, what's your plan?
Oh no, I'm thinking it's definitely going at least on the shelf behind me, maybe even on a frame one day if I can figure out how to frame it. But I mean, it's just, I mean, this is the original.
What did you get? Just like another like
Just
regular
same
wireless?
One you got, just a new. Yeah. So the reason is, and I know like some people are gonna be like wireless. Blah, blah. Guess what? All right, I'm not going pro anytime soon. So and wireless nowadays is so fast it doesn't matter. Like I have wireless mice, everything.
I don't think it makes.
It doesn't.
I mean, it's such at our level. I don't think it makes a difference.
The second I saw Stewie 2K use a wireless mouse, I was like, okay, the argument's dead. Like
that's really what it was for all of us in our whole friend circle.
Yeah.
It was like, wait a minute, one of these pros is using a wireless mouse. Like,
as soon as I saw them start using like the Logitech wireless, I'm like, okay, it's there now. We feel if a Counter-Strike pro feels comfortable enough doing this in $1 million tournament, I should be okay doing this at home, playing, offline Mortal Kombat against easy AI. So.
This is exactly how I know we're not ready yet for wireless keyboards. Like I don't see anyone else in the sense I don't see any pros using it. So
and they are expensive as hell. Like a wireless keyboard's like unnecessarily $200.
But like if it was good enough to be used at a pro level, they would be using it.
They would use it. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I would know, okay, I can go. I'll go splurge on this. Like
easy enough. No, that is very true. When the pros do it, I know it has my blessing to be good enough. But no, very emotional day. I am switching off of my original Xbox.
It's one less wire for you, man. It's a good thing. I know it's really hard, but it's a good thing.
Well, it's like you can do, not that I've ever done it before, but maybe now I will, where you can like play the Xbox games on the phone. So maybe there's like some easy platformer games that, maybe I'm chilling on the couch and I just want to play some, maybe Forza, right? The controller connects Bluetooth and I can maybe play something. So either way, RIP to the OG. It will always be right next to me though, in case I ever need it. It'll never go away. All right, let's get into some yikes of the week to start the show off, because we actually have quite a bit for only being I feel like we took a week off with how much news we have to go through.
It does feel like a lot. I was noticing the same thing. I was like, wait, did we do a show last week?
Yeah, we did though.
We did. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
In fact, I think even a later show. I don't even think it was on a Monday. I think we did like a Tuesday show. So it's been extra busy in the world of esports. Anuj, you start off with yikes of the week because you know more about this one than I do.
So there's a company out there called Artesian Builds. They build custom PCs. They look gorgeous. They have a cool little ambassador program where anybody can sign up to be part of it. And if you're part of this ambassador program, like, you're part of the giveaways and things like that they do. And the ambassadors are all streamers, but it was like a free partnership that they were essentially offering. They're also partnered with some really big names, OTK, like the One True King network of all those streamers that all got together, Nick Merckx, and a handful of others. Well, recently, Tim, they did a giveaway for a free PC. I think it was like in the realm of $2,500 to $3,000, like a very nice,
very nice
PC that they were putting together. They do the giveaway. They do it live on stream, so they can announce the winner and celebrate with this person if they happen to be in stream watching. Well, they do the drawing. The winner is in chat watching, gets all excited to hear her name called, and after they called her name, they started pulling up her social networks, I guess you could say, right? Her Twitch, her Twitter following, and literally just started calling her out saying, your following is too small to get something this nice. And they didn't give her the PC. They literally said it on stream. Yep, that's not happening. But thanks for being part of the program.
Thanks for being an
basically, you know?
affiliate.
And then they changed the rules right there and updated them on their like rules and guidelines
To what?
for the
Like you
drawing.
need
So,
X amount of followers or
yeah, X
something?
number of followers, and like they get to determine if that following is big enough, right? So they determined that it wasn't. They did not give her the PC. This took a ton of heat, as you can imagine. I mean, everybody started chiming in on it. Most of their big name partnerships have all fallen through and have all dropped them. I think their biggest one being Nick Merckx. He hasn't officially, I think, walked away because he said he's kind of against cancel culture, but he's like, this is a really bad look. He goes, nobody that watches that will think that that is okay. So he goes, we need to reevaluate if we want to work with them. But
Maybe not
several
walk
others,
away, but definitely not re-sign up the contract.
yeah, I mean, and on top of all of this, kind of cool for the winner, but Jay-Z 2 Cents said, I'm going to build you a custom PC for free. I'll ship it out to you. And if you don't know who that is, it's a huge YouTuber, tech review YouTuber, does a really good job with his content, and obviously builds beautiful custom PCs, so she'll get something even better. And Tim, to top it off, the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, it comes out that they've been throttling their PCs by about 10% because they're having an overheating issue. And rather than resolve the issue or notify the buyer that they're doing this, they just install like another software program that throttles it. That's not part of like the normal. Like you
Right.
have to physically open up that program to see it was being throttled.
And for
so,
someone buying a pre-built, probably doesn't know the difference to like look at that type of stuff.
just, I mean, like in one sense, yeah, it's hard to notice because it is just 10%. Like if you're not actively trying to,
Yeah, but I mean that's you want 100%.
but that's to not disclose that is the bigger
Right.
issue, right? Like, hey, we throttled it back. You can try it, but keep an eye on overheating or something. Like terrible, terrible look. And I know I won't be buying from there on my next build. I mean,
No.
but I'm assuming most people now feel that way.
Look, as what I would consider a smaller following podcast, though we have the best listeners, we are not like millions of followers, right? And we have gotten big time. That's the whole reason there's the OpTiC curse out there, because OpTiC has big timed us agreeing to do an interview, asking to see our numbers, and then going, ooh, never mind. And then they just went ghost and never responded to another email. Hence why they have the TCR curse. So I completely feel this winner that got gypped. Although Jay's 2 Cents, nice of him, he is also a jerk. So I used to be the biggest, not to derail this, I used to be the biggest Jay's 2 Cents. And then I showed you the interaction one time on Twitter.
Yeah.
The dude is such a jerk to his fan base on Twitter. I had to unfollow everything by him because it just irked me so bad. But that's neither here nor there.
If you separate the content maybe from the person, he does not like. I like his
content is great, but him as a person, he told people that he didn't need us. Like as a listener, he was like, "I don't need you to do this." And it's like, okay, well then you don't have me. But again, I digress. I don't want to. This is not about him being a jerk. It's about the Artesian Builds guys being a jerk. And I did see like their retort, which is always like, we'll do better, blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, the damage is done. And what's weird is like, it's not even like this was like, so like, they're not even that big as far as like pre-built goes, like there are a lot bigger companies out there that do exactly what they do. So for them to go, if anything, this was like, should have been like the most perfect opportunity. Like this was like, for a PR person, this was like the easiest softball you could have ever gotten. Like, give it to a smaller streamer. You're showing them on stream. Give them a shout out. Tell people to go follow them. Watch their shit. And then it's like...
You can make a difference that way with your...
Right. Here's the free PC. I mean, it was the easiest thing. So, yikes.
And in their apology, they didn't even offer her the PC. They ended up doing that later after they got called out on the apology for not mentioning, like, are you going to give her the PC or no? They still weren't planning on giving it to her at that point. Then they offered it. She obviously rejected at that point. And
I would have taken that.
She's getting hooked up elsewhere.
I'm not that prideful. I would take it and get the free ones that people are giving me. My yikes of the week. I'm not going to try to get emotional over this, Anuj, because everyone knows that I am the biggest Halo fan in the world. The game would be completely dead if I did not promote it as much as I did. However, it is almost dead. As it's been revealed, or, people have noticed, 90% of the player base has quit playing Halo Infinite since release. Now, of course, this is on Steam because Xbox doesn't provide their numbers, but I can almost promise you they're not that much better. Like, people are going to be like, "Well, that's Steam. I'd look at Xbox." No. Let's not try to paint this picture that Steam is just this outer worldly different type of people. We're all gamers here, okay? 90% of the player base has dropped. And on top of that, they announced Season 2 this past week for Arena, which is ranked play, 1 new map. We're getting 1 new map after what? It's going to be at the time like over 6 months that the game's been out.
And mind you, they took out a map just recently.
They took away a map.
So like you're really just back at the same number of maps.
You're breaking even. You're breaking even. Now there could be more maps throughout the season. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but and again, we still don't have a roadmap, by the way. They said a roadmap was supposed to be out in February. Let's see, 343, it is now March. So where's that roadmap? And they also announced, which this is almost like the worst part about it, Forge will not be out until Season 3.
I'm like so curious what they're doing. I just don't understand. Like, to come out with 1 new map, to not have Forge ready to go when they know the game, the state the game is in, right? Like, you've lost the hype. And that's gone. And we could tell that just from our circle of friends, because we had a separate text thread where we hit up everyone every night that when we were getting on, and you would have a full lobby to play.
And we were like, you can attest to this, Anuj, because you played in this group. We were Halo guys. Like, we are pro Halo.
3 out of the 4 of us were like, y'all all grew up playing Halo.
Like, we're Halo apologists. Like, you have to do a lot for us to say that it's dead again.
It's funny. I sent a text in that thread the other day, and the response I got from one of the other Halo enthusiasts was, I just kind of look at the game as a good memory that we all had together. And I was like, it's so true, because I'm not going back. I can tell you, as much as you love the game, you're not going back, at least for Season 2. What are you going to try out one map one time?
And that's what that's probably what I'll do, right? I'll dabble back into it.
That's not going back, right? That's like just, hey, I want to see the new map for the sake of it, and that's that. Look, Tim, this is exactly... I said this a million times. I was a wait and see on if this game would survive. I had doubt from the beginning. I got hyped up when it got released. I got caught up in the hype like everybody else. But my doubts were always there that I didn't think they had enough to keep it going. And it got worse and worse as people found bugs and all the other issues. And like, this is a little bit of a, like, yeah, I'm being a little hateful here, I feel like, but like 343 really pooped the bed here. Like,
look, and I don't,
this is
like, to do a blanket statement, and I know not everyone there is to blame, but 343 really is to blame in all of this. Like, I don't know who over there you need to blame, but like you were saying, like, you were cautiously optimistic, and I was like full blown optimistic. Like, I would have put my children's life on the line that Halo was going to be back. I guess I was just in denial that, like, oh, you know what? They're not giving us information, but it's there. Don't worry, Anuj. Like,
well, they had 6 years, so you had good reason to believe
they're not going to fuck this up. Like, they know how important this is. Look at Master Chief Collection. It started out as crap, and then they fixed it. Now they're putting awesome things in it, and it's still like a big popular game. It's going to be good. And then it's like they learned absolutely nothing from Master Chief Collection. Absolutely nothing. They are taking, and it's like they're like trying to reinvent the wheel with Infinite. Like, guys, at this point, like, just give us the old maps. Like, start doing things again to where it's like people want to play and grind it out.
It's even crappy at a baseline level of like UI.
Right.
Like, it started with the UI being shitty, went to the game being average, and the world itself is like, you made less than 1 map a year in development, on average, right? I know they like don't do it like that, but I'm just saying in general, like, you came to the table with so little, and you knew there was so much expectation because you guys waited so long to release this.
What
I
was
mean,
the delay?
it
You know, that's what I really want someone to interview these guys and be like,
oh,
what, what was
they're
that?
not coming on any shows.
What was that year delay for? Like, what if you released the game when it was supposed to come out at the launch of the latest Xbox, whichever one?
Like,
that is.
how much less content was
Like,
there?
what was it at that point? Like, was it just one map in Slayer? Like, I don't understand.
I mean, we still don't have the full group of play modes that you grew up to playing.
That's what I don't
and,
understand
like,
is like they took away, which is always like rule number one. If you release a game, don't take away things from the previous one, right? And they took away
don't sell that
everything.
to us as seasonal features. Like, oh yeah, you're gonna get this in season 3. Well, bro, we had it all along.
Yeah.
Y'all took it away, and now we're making
They
it
took
a thing.
away
So
customization. You can't make your guy look nearly as custom. Your emblem, your cards,
dude,
like
the character. That's not character customization's another. We'll save that yikes for another time because that's just its own. Nothing to me screams like, oh, there's a way to rebound. I think honestly, the only thing that could potentially save this game or get people back into it, people are gonna hate me saying this, maybe even you. They need to make a BR at this point. You got to make a BR because you're not going to do anything to get people interested in multiplayer again. It's
right.
too hard to do.
Well, and this is why, because the game's already free to play, right? So you can't make it free to play. You can't get any more free than free to play. So the only way you can get people back interested is figuring out a way to almost do another, like a re-grant opening.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you can do that is with something new. And the BRs, like I said, unfortunately, might be the only way to do it. Forge, I don't think is going to do it because as amazing
Forge won't do it. Forge won't do it at all.
As amazing
Forge
as
been good from a day one,
right?
feature.
Like as amazing as Forge is, for people like you who don't know it, you don't like. It's just like you're not going to go in and figure it out.
I want to take advantage of what people do in the Forge.
Right.
I don't want to do something myself and create something in there.
So that's
but
not going to bring people back.
That's not bring. Yeah, not at all.
No. My other yikes here, the last one, is it was recently announced by Riot the champion skins for VCT champs, right?
Two skins. It was the
gun and
AK,
the knife.
Not the AK. Well, AK-47. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. Vandal.
The Vandal.
And a Karambit style knife. Both very cool looking skins, by the way.
Oh, very nice effects.
$70 for the two of them.
Yeah, that's why we don't have it. Riot announced $17 million, and that was split, which I think that's already been announced. It was, total made
17 split.
Yep, 17 million. It was then split with the teams. Each team then got roughly 585K, give or take. Now from there, that's where Riot kind of said, hey, the money's to you guys. You guys do whatever you want with it, right? Riot didn't dictate how it was split up. So every team, Anuj, did something a little different. Some better, some worse, some not at all. So let's, I just want to kind of go down the list here. Let me pull up.
Just so you know, for me, Tim, anything under a 50-50 would be a yikes in this scenario.
I 1000% agree, and I would almost even say maybe a 50-50 is a bit of a yikes.
Well, like the team's got to make some money off the fact that there's no events in this game besides VCT.
And I don't know what the player salaries are, right? Maybe some teams pay their players a lot more up front and then take more from the prize pool type of thing. So I don't think, I know some people are like, you shouldn't take any of the prize pool, but man, that's old school style, right? Like I think that's
when prize pools were $20,000, $10,000.
Well, and the players weren't making 200,000, right? But when players are making enough money now to where teams can, I think, be a little greedy in the sense of hey, I need something to keep the lights on here, boys. I can't give you $500,000 in prize pool and pay you $100,000 a year.
Yeah, that's why I think anything other than a 50-50, like you see in most traditional sports with revenue sharing.
So 50-50, I don't think you can argue. So here's how it breaks down. Ascend 75-25, so 75% to the players or to the team, 25 to the players. Fnatic was 80-20, Liquid 70-30. That's not crazy. The bigger orgs giving more. That makes sense.
No, they're taking more.
Or taking more. Oh, you're right. Okay, so that definitely doesn't make sense. So
Yeah, all
Fnatic
the ones that so the first number Tim is saying is for the team.
teams,
The second number for the players. So again,
right?
Ascend 75-25,
So
Fnatic took
EU
80, gave the players 20, and Liquid took 70, gave the
overall
players
EU
30.
the team took a lot.
Yeah, team took a lot in these scenarios.
In North America, you have Envy/OpTic split 50-50. Sentinels 50-50. Cloud9, Salt of the Earth 25-75.
That's solid.
Yeah. If you're 25% to the team, to the org, 75% to the players. That's one of the better ones here.
Mighty generous, I would say.
Latin America, you have 60-40 in Furia. Vivo Keyed got 20-80. That's
also doing the team a solid.
yeah, that's also very nice. In Asia Pacific, you have Team Secret 85-15, Vision Strikers 70-30, and X10 100% going to the org.
It's kind of interesting to see regionally
The
how this
attitude
was.
on how it
Yeah,
works.
like I mean, Asia Pacific. Okay, I didn't. Maybe not 100%. Again, depends on what they're
100%?
paying.
What are you paying the
100 to
players?
0 is
You
like.
better be paying the players pretty handsomely. If you're gonna take 100% of that money, like, but from what I hear,
Let's be real. Like X10. I mean, not a global brand.
no, and even from what I hear, the players are getting paid like pennies too. So I think they're just a not a good org to be with.
The owners are sitting there driving Lambos, sipping
Like,
on martinis during the games, and these guys are eating ramen out of a bowl.
Right, like it's not a good look. If I were those players, I'd be like, "Yo, I am now officially free agent, looking for NA offers. Willing to play in Brazil."
We'll go ahead and just do early good dude of the week and go ahead and just throw Cloud9 in there because that's pretty cool on their part to give the players 75%.
Yeah, no. Very nice to see, especially because those players are probably also getting paid on the higher end as well, just being
like they're at least getting a
Cloud9.
good salary, right? Maybe
Right.
not the highest, but definitely
Good.
decent salary.
Good.
So
Speaking of good dude of the week, transitioning to the next topic, Leonardo DiCaprio has donated $10 million to Ukraine on the war efforts. Not necessarily esports related, but you know what? You donate $10 million, you'll get a shout out.
yeah, I think that's fair. That's pretty cool. And plus, we both like Leo, so not
DiCaprio.
right?
DiCaprio. We were talking ahead of the show because the headline said DiCaprio donated 10 million, and we were like, "Is that Leonardo?" And we were like, "Well, no shit. Like, who else are you going to refer to as just DiCaprio?"
We were saying it wouldn't be fair to say DiCaprio and be talking about somebody other than
Yeah, like
I mean, I can't even think of another one that comes to mind. So
there's that. Now let's transition into then.
Should we just go straight to Russia real quick?
Yeah,
while we're
that's
on
what
the
I was going to
topic?
say. Is let's transition into Russia, Ukraine. We talked about it last time. Obviously, the war is still going on. It's still shit, still awful, all that bad stuff. But what's different from last time, and we even kind of talked about it a little bit, is how some people are saying that the players also need to get banned from these events, and esports should start putting sanctions on these Russian players and things like that. And we, or at least I, kind of said that's silly. I don't really see the point in that. I don't think it's fair to punish the players. Well, lo and behold, like a couple hours, I think, after recording, of course, the way it just works on this show is, who was it? Blast announced that they are no longer allowing the Russian teams, Russian-owned orgs, to play in their events. So that means
Gambit and Virtus Pro.
Now, Na'Vi, 3 out of the 5 players are Russian. However, it is not a Russian-owned org, right? So that's for Blast.
Well, they cut ties with any of their Russian partnerships.
Right.
So,
but
they're,
I mean, they're also like their owners are Ukrainian, right? So don't think you're gonna knock that one out. That would not be good. That would not be good if you said no, you're not allowed to play either. So that's the big difference, though, right? People are like, well, they're 3 out of 5 are Russian. Like, how can this be, right? They're Ukrainian orgs. So
they were Blast and ESL were taking, we'll say sanctions, because that's the word that's also being used politically, right?
For the
so
sake
we'll
of
just
it,
say that word to kind of keep it all
I agree.
linear here. They made sanctions against teams, right? It wasn't player focused because they are allowing the players, should they choose to play under their own banner, I guess you could say, right? So
yeah,
you play under a different team name. It's not an association with.
It's the Olympic bit, right? It's the Olympic and FIFA bit where they said,
the Russian athletes.
Yeah, Russia, you cannot fly your flag. We won't play your anthem. However, your players can still be here. It's just technically not you.
I agree with that stance. I don't feel like an Olympic athlete, for example, that's maybe trained their whole life for an event should have something happen to them because of
their country.
Now, if you want to disassociate from the country, fine, but you can't play under their banner, right? You can't represent them.
And I agree with that. If they were completely banning these players, and this is where I also wish these announcements to me are so vague. Like I kind of want a little bit more details, because I feel like some of this is also just because of the actual political sanctions that are going on. I would have to imagine the logistics of hosting a Russian team and trying to get money to said Russian team is a nightmare in itself at this moment. Like, you probably have to go through so much red tape to even make it possible that's probably also why they're saying, like, look, if you're tied to this org at the moment, their sponsorships and their ownerships.
I believe it's more to make a stand in support of Ukraine than like a financial aspect. Like they don't pay prize money for 6 months anyway, so it's not like they have to worry about it right now. There's more we should hopefully
or ever
have some sort of conclusion by then. I think it is to make a political stand and to kind of align yourself with what we're seeing in other, whether it's sports, entertainment, whatever, right? Like, we are seeing actions and sanctions take place every day now. We're hearing about something new outside of esports. So I think esports was just trying to get in line. At the same time, I do feel bad for the Russian players, I want to believe that the citizens and whatever, they're outside of the political side, probably don't support a full-on war, right?
Right.
Maybe there's some tension, but I don't think anybody wants a war. And so, like, you do feel bad for, like, an 18-year-old kid who's probably for the last 7 years just sat in his room and played video games and doesn't know a damn thing about...
What's Monase, right? He's played 11% of his life has been in Counter-Strike. You think he knows the Ukraine-Russian politics? No.
Well, I don't think he has another 11% tied to, like, what's been going on politically in Russia, And so, like, for the players, I feel bad. I hope some of these players take advantage of just playing under their own banner.
VP has announced VP players are. So VP, the org, did make a statement, which we can talk about. But the players, they said that, hey, you know what? We're going to allow our players to do what they want, and they can play, they could still play, just not under our banner, right? And they are. The players did announce that they are going to compete. I forget the team name, but it's just, basically an orgless. They're orgless at the moment for the sake of these events, right? Still VP at the end of the day, but orgless as far as we're concerned. I said this in Discord. Last week I was pretty, like, solid. This is dumb. It should just let it be esports and be done with it, right? And then, kind of the weeks gone by and more articles are coming out and decisions are being made, and I've kind of convinced myself, like, my mind turns into a pretzel, because I totally get the sanctions on the org side, especially when you have orgs like VP who, have direct ties to some of these oligarchs. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Oligarchs. And their companies have direct ties to Putin. And then when the org is kind of like trying to play the victim card, like in VP's statement, they said that they're a victim of cancel culture, which I hope that was just lost in translation when they decided.
Like they used Google Translate and maybe it just came out wrong.
Because that is the dumbest thing you could possibly say at this moment in time. Like
yeah.
your government is literally going into another country, not because that other country attacked first, not because that other country is doing something to another country. No. It's going in there specifically to take the land. So you can't be playing
the ones that are
culture.
supported by like government entities or people close to like the political ties, I guess you could say. You know, I understand for the companies that aren't, you know, whether it's a software-based company or an
Right.
esports
It
org
does
that's
suck.
just doing their own thing. Like, I also understand why they're not publicly coming out.
Yeah,
And like for them, this is also a life and death in that sense situation. Like they don't know if they could end up in prison for the next 10
you
years
have
if they
Russian
came out. It's
police.
like it's not worth it either, you know?
Like I saw this video on Reddit earlier. Russian police are now going to
Looking at cell phones?
random citizens on the street to look at their cell phone and look at their recent text messages to see if they're talking trash about the war and Putin. So
Yeah.
I don't blame any Russian out there, any org out there to not make like a definitive stance at this moment. A, for their company's safety, but B, for their own family and player safety, right? Like you don't want the players involved with that either. And I don't judge anyone for like not using it at this moment to like make a stance and be like, no, this is not a, like human rights are at I totally get that. But I also understand from the other side of things where it's like, yo, I got a family, I got a life, I got to live.
Dude, they obviously have a crazy ass leader who is
Right.
in control of nuclear weapons, who probably doesn't care about his own citizens, and
So it's like
could very well be the richest man in the world for all we know.
yeah, like
it's not somebody you want to mess with, you know.
So I get it from every angle now, and like I said, I my thing is, I guess, rather be safe than sorry, right? I think that's kind of where I don't like it, but I get it type of attitude. You know, you don't want to think like, hey, like how you said, it's like, you know, I even said last week, like, hey, you got to separate Russia from Putin because it's not all Russians. But at the same time, it could be some, right? Like there could be some players that do support this.
I mean, it's definitely not it's definitely not an X10 situation where it's 100-0.
Right.
Right. Like there's going to be some that feel a certain way and think it's the right move, and others that believe that they don't, you know, they shouldn't be invading. And that's why I think it's just a blanket stand on, hey,
yeah,
this is what we're going to do.
Regardless of what side you fall on, right? Unanimously, I hope, like there is a clear right or wrong side in this scenario. So it's like anyone from the outside.
Well, to 99% of the world, there is.
Right. That's what I mean. Right. To like that 1%, whether it be citizen, player, or Putin, right, that think Russia's in the right here, whether they're brainwashed or not, that's what they're thinking. And that's what these sanctions are there to combat. Now, it does suck for everyone else involved, from the players, from the orgs if they're not technically involved or things like that. But like VP, you should have just said, hey, you know what? It sucks, but our players can do what they want to do. And then end it. Shut up. Don't try to play this victim BS of, oh, we're just part of cancel culture. That's what this is. It's cancel culture.
They're better off just not making a statement.
Just make a statement saying, hey.
You can be worse and just don't even say anything and just let your players go.
Our players will, like we're allowing our players to play, you know, or just say like, hey, you know what? It's unfortunate ESL's ruling. We'll allow our players to do what they want.
Yeah.
Done.
You know what I don't agree with, Tim? The situation with Quake Pro League, how it's like the stance that they took with the war. They banned a Russian player who is not teamed with the Russian org.
They're straight up Russian and what's the other country involved?
Belarus.
Is it Belarus? The country that starts with a B.
I think it's Belarus.
All of those players are just out of Quake League.
Yeah, I don't like that. That to me is taking it a step too far. Anybody else that we've seen sanctions come across has been like company related, org related, whatever.
Belarus,
but it's not been towards like a singular person. And I don't agree with that. I think that's a very tough stance to take. I think that comes across in a way that it's like you need to be looking after people first and foremost, right? Like, I mean, I just to me that's just a wrong approach. It comes
Right.
across the wrong way. I feel like it's very hypocritical way of looking at it when over here you're thinking about one's safety and their well-being, but then you look at somebody else and say, "Well, you have no ties to the government. You've said nothing that makes us believe that you're pro-war, but we're gonna take this out on you too." I don't know. It
Right.
just doesn't feel like
And again, like we said
it
before, you
belongs.
get some people that are going to be like, well, they're not saying they're against it. Again, I think until you're a Russian citizen in Russia, you don't know what their mindset is like as far as like, you know, what they should or feel safe to say.
I'll tell you right now, if we were in Russia, we would talk very differently about this. We wouldn't talk about this situation.
Yeah, war? What war? Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Like, you're married with 2 kids. You're gonna risk it by saying something publicly right now?
No.
Like, no, you're not.
So that's what I said. Like, I'm at, like right now, my mind is a pretzel. I constantly go back and forth when I see this type of news. And I think I'm landing at it sucks, but I get it type of thing. Like, I don't necessarily agree 100% with the way everybody is going about it in the world of esports, but I get it and I understand why they're doing it. It's just some of it is a little contradicting, right? And I also don't want to be like, for example, like EA is removing Russia from FIFA. I don't understand. Like, you're just going to remove the country from FIFA.
See, maybe this is where it's so interesting because maybe we could feel different ways about some of these topics where we agree on 90% of it. I'm actually okay with this move too. Like it's just because it's such a small thing. Like
And that's what I'm saying.
nobody's
Like,
really,
I don't care.
it's a small thing,
I
but
don't
it's
care.
again taking it's just a sign of support,
Right.
right? And
that's what I
so
said. I get it.
You know it's temporary. Hopefully, like hopefully everyone comes to their senses at some point. We don't know if that'll happen, but it's just another sign of unity, and that's okay. Like if you're removing players from a game, like okay, whatever. Like these players are still going to be on their club
Like, is
teams and the
NHL not
game.
going to have Ovechkin on in it next year? You
No,
know,
because I
like
don't think they're taking out Russian players. They're just taking out like
Russian
from the World
flag,
Cup
right?
version of the game. They're taking out the country. So like
Now,
if they're like, hey, we're gonna go to all the club teams and any Russian player will be removed from the club team, and then again, I think we're probably crossing some lines there. But
right.
I think just to say, hey, we're gonna take this country out of the game, they don't need to be in here right now. I actually kind of like that. I'm okay with
And
that.
like I said, I don't care either way because also people online are a bunch of shitbags who would probably always pick Russia to try to just be assholes and troll
You know they
people about
would.
it.
Like that's
So
why I think it's like it's
if
you
they
know,
got to police their own
know
community,
they would. It would happen a lot.
yeah. So I get that. Activision Blizzard's announced that they're suspending sales in Russia. We said, I think it was Twitch and OnlyFans last week said that they are putting sanctions on their content creators from pulling money out, which I think is also, again, shitty for some, but probably not for all, right? Some of them probably deserve it not to have their money sent to them, depending on their beliefs, but it's just one of those things, I guess, Hey, this is the way I see it.
What if this was a 200 IQ play from the United States? Is let's get Russia to engage in war, so NA won't be the worst CS:GO region. We'll ban all their players for a couple of years, not let them grow into mature pros, take over the scene.
I still wouldn't be willing to risk it because there's still a very good chance NA is still the worst. Like, there's still a very good chance that a city in Ukraine getting bombed and invaded right now could still take on NA's best in CS. Like, there is a very good chance we would still lose that match. Even with all the distractions going on, NA would still lose. So I don't know if that would be the best play. Might be a little bit even more embarrassing. What I was going to say, though, is, and I guess this is how I justify all this stuff happening, is if Russia is going to bomb civilians after agreeing to a ceasefire to let said civilians go away in peace, if the worst thing that happens to their citizens is they can't pick Russia in FIFA, or they can't, take out their money from Twitch.
The World of Warcraft.
Yeah, if they lose their sub on WoW, I'm okay with it, I guess, at the end of the day. So it's a mess, and hopefully this all ends soon in a good way, right? And we don't have to keep dealing with it, because right now, much like COVID, right? At the beginning, it seems all temporary, but war can last a very long time, and it can take like these sanctions on, like I said, like the Russian Twitch scene and games not going over to Russia and esports on the Russian side. Like, you don't know how long this is going to go, and who's going to bend and break first. Like, will ESL eventually be like, you know what? It's been like 2 years now. Let's get these Russian teams back. Like, I don't know, right? Like, you don't know what's going to happen. So also, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy who points out something because you did something good, but I will be the guy who just highlights the irony that ESL is going to point fingers at someone being not cool and against the rules.
Blast.
And blast. Like ESL, the company who was just bought out by Saudi Arabian government, is now the ones who are saying, hey, we believe in human rights, and we don't agree with Russia's doing. But, any of those homosexual
like
Ukrainians.
With serial killers, the loudest one is usually the first suspect you should look at. And so they can all point to. It's like the Spider-Man meme. They could all be pointing at each other for some reason.
ESL and Saudi Arabia are like, oh, thank God Russia did this. Yeah, no, we're against you guys. We're against you. Russia, yeah, everyone look how bad Russia is. Don't look over here. Don't look in our backyard. Look, stay focused on Russia here, people. Anytime their tournaments are going to start, and people are going to be like, what about Saudi? No, Russia. You got to think about Russia. So I just found it. I knew it was going to happen when everyone started announcing bans. I knew ESL was going to make an announcement, and I was just waiting for it. I was honestly waiting for it. So there's that. We'll see. We'll see what happens with all these sanctions within esports and the war between Russia and Ukraine. Also, I do like the people who throw in Belarus in this too. I know they're involved, but like, how many Belarus pros are there that we need to worry about?
Couldn't tell you one.
So I guess they got it too. Call of Duty major, the OpTic Texas major, was the first major of the year, first major for Vanguard. I was there on Saturday. It was a 4-day event. I was there on Saturday, was there for a little bit. I was joking about it with people over there that as a gamer dad, as a father of 2, it's a little hard to convince the wife that it's cool. Like, my wife is cool. She's not, hey, go spend 12 hours for 4 days in a row at this esports event. Cool. So I had to pick my battles. I went there on Saturday for a couple hours. Saw a little bit of a couple matches. I did miss the Texas one though, because of the stupid tech delays. But I will say
that's a little rough, because obviously that was the hype.
That is of course the highlight, and I missed out on it. But I did see, I think it was Toronto, Boston, Paris,
Toronto, London, and Boston, Paris.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So look.
Hey, you still saw some great teams.
I saw some. It was awesome. It was my first time going to an esports event, and really sporting event, apart from IndyCar, since COVID. So this is I think the first time since we went to BlizzCon in 2019 that I went to an esports event. And going in, I was like, kind of just want to watch this at home. But I'm glad I went, because man, they are so much fun. To get the hype of the crowd, to see all, I saw so many friendly faces, because obviously we're good buddies with a lot of people from now OpTic Texas, but Envy and all them, got to catch up with some old friends within there, and, seeing esports stadium, not a whole lot has changed about the stadium yet. I am very interested to see how it evolves now that they fully own it, right? Like, I know they have a lot of exciting plans for it. I'm kind of excited to see where that goes, because quite honestly, it kind of felt like any other COD tournament. It didn't feel like a major.
You would think they're gonna put like rafters up in the banners, banners up in the rafters and things.
Yeah,
like, I'm sure there'll be like some cool stuff over time.
right. Because aesthetically, it felt like just any other esports event that they've had at the Esports Stadium in Arlington. But it was awesome to finally get.
I mean, just watching on stream, and we know this from other COD events. There is nothing like the green wall when they're
and it was
playing well and in an event and like making a deep run.
Yeah,
the
it was
fan base
packed.
is insane.
It
was
98%
like OpTic fans.
It was 99. I shit you not. That place was nut to butt. Like, every seat was full. And I think I saw maybe 4 jerseys that weren't OpTic or Dallas Empire. You know, I include any Envy, Dallas Empire, rest in peace. Dallas Empire died so OpTic could live. I saw like maybe one person with a Faze jersey, one person with a Toronto jersey, and then I think
a couple of signs,
a couple like 100, thieves, right? But even then, I think like the Toronto guy probably worked for them, so I don't know if that necessarily counts. But I mean, it was. You want to talk about a home match? You could convince me it was rigged, because had OpTic lost and was eliminated early on, you would have had 5 people in that stadium. Like
I mean, we've seen stadiums exit if once OpTic's been eliminated.
At CWL Fort Worth, when OpTic lost, the mass exodus of people leave. It looked like there was another bomb threat with the amount of people leaving the convention center back then. So yeah, look, for as amazing as the green wall is, which, you know I make fun of OpTic fans, I will also be the first to admit that they are the heartbeat of Call of Duty. They are what makes that locomotive go. And so you need them there. You need them in the grand finals, because without it, like if it was a Toronto Faze final, I'm sure the gameplay would have been good, right? But the atmosphere, the vibe in the building, it would have been gone. Yeah. I mean, gone. Everyone there was to see OpTic.
No, I 100% agree, and that's what it felt like watching it online. Is everybody was there to see OpTic, and then I'm so happy with how this tournament turned out, because like I do want to see like this group as a whole, right? When you think of Illy and Shotzi, those feel like our boys in the sense of they're from the original Dallas Empire team, our home team, so that rooting interest is already there. And Scump is one of those guys where love him or hate him, which there's plenty of both, right? Like you either love Scump or you hate him because you're not an OpTic fan. You gotta respect the man's like passion for Call of Duty after so long. You know, it's not like he's some washed senior playing in the league that's just sticking around because of his name. Like, he genuinely still up there from a talent standpoint, motivated, hungry, and like the amount of excitement and energy he shows is like pretty contagious to watch. You know, like when they make a big play or win a map, I mean, he's like the first one to jump out of his chair still at like 45 years old, you know? So it's like, it's impressive. I'm happy they got this W. I think beating Atlanta twice this weekend is such a
I think that's
huge mental boost for
a big takeaway for that too. Because first off, the one was a reverse sweep. Of course, the game that I couldn't stay for and watch. Rookie move. I should have showed up later. I decided to go early because my kids were asleep. So I was like, I'll just go for their nap time and I'll come back. I should have stayed later. Went later to stay later. That's rookie move on my part. But that reverse sweep against FaZe, and then to meet them again in the finals and honestly just dominate them in the finals 5-2. I know some people are upset that there's no winner bracket advantage right
should
now
be,
in
though,
CDL.
right? Should there be a 1-0 start on a 9-game bracket?
Yeah, so for a 9-game, so it's best out of 9, so first team to 5. I don't think it would kill them to give a 1-0 start.
If it was like BO3, I would agree.
Or
no,
better
give an advantage.
yet, go back to how it was. Do a best of 5. Well, maybe, I don't know. Best of 7 with a potential reset. That's what I like. I like winner or the grand final bracket reset is, I've said it 1,000 times. There's no better feeling in any esport, whether it be Smash, Call of Duty. Hey, if there's a double elimination event and you have the ability to do a bracket reset in the grand finals, I think you should do it.
But regardless of the format, we both agree there should be some sort of advantage for that winner.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, there should be like some, even if it's small.
Right.
Like, and not like, oh, you get first nat pick. That's stupid.
Yeah,
but like there should be something more than that for making the run that they made. But nonetheless, I mean, I thought we saw, Toronto included, like the best teams make it the furthest once again in this particular event. I think for OpTiC, it was huge to beat Atlanta early in the year because, like, if you remember the year that the Empire won it all, they were terrible against Atlanta all year long, and that was kind of the storyline. Like, they had no chance of beating Atlanta. Sure enough, obviously the finals came around and they came up big, but I don't think there was like a world of confidence like that we could do this because they really hadn't done it throughout the season. This, to take 2 off of them in one tournament, doesn't feel like a fluke. I mean, the benefit here is they had a home crowd advantage, which there truly was home crowd advantage.
Well, that's a little controversy too, right? So there was, even Hastro tweeted out saying like, hey guys, when Atlanta is diffusing, I know it's exciting, but try not to unfair advantage. And that's the woe of esports, right? Like it's been since the dawn of LAN events, the unfair advantage of if something's happening and the team might not necessarily be 100% aware of it, but then they see the crowd reaction, they know something is up, right? So Atlanta's diffusing it. Texas might not be 100% aware, so they see the crowd freaking out and they go, guys, they're diffusing it. Let's get back to it. Something's going on. So I mean, unless you put them in a soundproof booth with a 2-way mirror, I don't think there's any way. Like, what are you gonna do? That's part of a LAN.
We've seen that happen. Like that could be done. There's ways to like prevent it if it's that big of an issue.
Right. I think a soundproof booth would be the right way to do it. But I know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, at least on stream, I didn't like. Maybe I just didn't hear it. I didn't pick up on some of the stuff until it was like mentioned later on. I was like, oh, okay, I guess, yeah. But overall, I was really happy to see like COD in a good light this weekend. I think it had just been a long time with a lot of negativity, not just from us, but like from really anybody in the Call of Duty scene. I think Call of Duty just needed a weekend like this, right? Like just a old-fashioned LAN. It felt like it was one for the boys. Like you had an OpTiC win. You had Faze obviously in the finals with all the big names that they had. You had,
Illy popping off.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Illy was popping off.
Yeah, I mean, Illy was popping off. Shotzi was doing his thing. Scum. I mean, they all looked really good. And a team like Toronto, who to me is just like so lethal. These guys are just so good, and I doubted them so much, a year and a half ago at this point, where it was like, I don't know. I don't really see this working out once they dropped methods, and they have just continued to like do great things over there. And I just thought we saw really good Call of Duty. I mean, people were fortunate, I think, to finally see Gizmo from Royal Ravens. A lot of people probably haven't paid attention to him because he's a rookie, but I think he's making a case for Rookie of the Year already and has been so consistent throughout the year. Boston with Methods and seeing them doing good, and Methods has become like this quiet crowd favorite for most people, because of his stream and everything that he went through the previous year. It was great. I think the only major disappointment for me coming out of this event, and it's team related, is like the subliners.
I was about to say that's who I wanted to bring up. Was they started out in the losers bracket. They went 3-0 right off the bat against Thieves, and that's got to sting for them too, because that you have Clayster and Crim6. It's pretty much like a homecoming for them, right? Being former Dallas Empire, like I think there's a lot of pressure on them to, now obviously everyone lives here, so it's not like that crazy to be back, but you're in front of what used to be your home crowd. Like those were Dallas Empire fans last year. So I felt like maybe I thought they would have showed up a little better, to be honest with you.
Yeah, there's rumors that Clay and Crim got into a fight on the Thursday before their match.
Shocked that there would be a fight on that one.
I had fairly high hopes. I didn't think of them as like they're a favorite to win it all, but I thought they would be a very good team.
A map. I thought they would have taken a map.
I mean, this is like gone from bad to worse, and now the clock is just ticking. You know how it is with Call of Duty. Like now this has like been all the way up until Major 1 and y'all haven't had a good performance. There's gonna be some sweeping changes to that roster.
And they've already made like Neptune, they already benched, right? So it's like
I expect to see either Clay or Crim also, one of them be gone by the end of the year.
I could see
at this pace, like
I could see one of them retiring.
Almost just hit reset and figure something. I don't know how they turn it around unless they somehow find some unusual talent that, like, they need a standy type of pickup for like, what Minnesota was like able to do and kind of catch fire in a bottle with him. Like they need something, because this team looks real bad right now. I mean, they are looking like potentially the worst team. Not just like bad, like, hey, they're ranked 7th or 8th. They're looking like the worst team in Pro League right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see either Clay or Crims or both retire at some point before the season's over. If they're already fighting now, right? If they've already had roster moves and roster disputes and then they're fighting, like, not a good look. Not a good look. Some other observations on my part. Whoever approved Boston Breach's logo and color scheme, like, there's only one green and black team in the league. There's room for only one, and that's OpTiC. And their logos are very similar, like with the green on the left, and then even
now, to be fair, that was probably done like after Breaches, or at least around the same time.
But
as,
OpTiC
like,
was still
logo,
in the
right?
league. I mean, they knew OpTiC
but
was.
They didn't have that star and all that. Like, that's all new, the way they did that, right? With the
I think OpTic Texas came out before Breach. No,
but I'm saying like they were very close in timeline to one another.
Oh, yeah, but my point is like you knew what OpTic looked like, just because even in stadium, like on the screens and stuff.
Oh, I get what you're saying. They look eerily similar. When you sent me the picture, I was like, oh damn, like this looks super close to one another.
Like put them like way too close. Way too close.
It's smart on Breach's part. If you're somebody might get confused and start rooting
squinting, for us. Right? Someone's squinting at that screen, they might be happy about it. That's observation number 1. Observation number 2, Haster tweeted out, someone asked him if it was bittersweet. He says it's not bittersweet at all. It's 100% sweet. Of course, he said that the first time he ever put on an OpTic jersey was on stage to accept the trophy, or, for the celebration. I don't know if I believe that. We're going to have him on sometime soon, and I will ask him about it. Because I know for me as a fan, it's bittersweet. Like, I think
we got to be so real in that interview with him.
You know me. You know me. I'm
well, there's no shame in asking it, because it's just how we feel as fans. So I'm kind of like genuinely curious of his response to that.
Yeah, like, and like I said, when I was there, although I'm not an OpTic fan, I haven't turned teams just yet. I'm not fully on board with the rebrand. It still hurts. Seeing, like I said, all of our buddies in the org and stuff, it's kind of like, I'm bittersweet about it. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for all of our friends who can win. But at the same time, as someone who's not directly involved with it and just a fan, well, my team didn't win. Like, OpTiC was not my team ever. Regardless of CDL, geolocation, nothing. OpTiC has never been. I've always enjoyed hating OpTiC, but so it's like for a fan,
it's taken a minute to like acquire that taste.
Yeah,
you know?
like it is.
They've always
weird.
been the opponent, like the enemy, you know. So it's
right.
Like,
and then it's like, because even then, it's like you see Hex front and center most of the time, anyways. Understand? And then Scump. It's like, this is OpTiC. This is not OpTiC Texas. This is OpTiC, and it is bittersweet for me. Peak viewers, looking good on that front though. 157,000 was the peak. That was peak.
And this is YouTube. People need to understand
YouTube,
that, you know?
not Twitch. So if it was Twitch, I think you'd be even looking better. However, tell me what you think of this. The peak, 157,000. The average was just under 70,000.
Yeah, but that's not that surprising because they had games on Thursday. They also had games early on Friday. Now, I know those numbers can be really high when we look at games like, you know, Counter-Strike or League of Legends, but that has massive international influence.
Right.
Call of Duty doesn't appeal to the international world nearly as much as it does to the NA side of the house, right?
Top 5 matches all included Faze or OpTic.
And that's also
to be
absolutely
expected.
No shock. You know, I think a 75K average with 150K peak, they're probably pretty like okay with that right now, right? Like the game has been in such a bad place that it was just important to know people cared when CDL came back on, and it looks like they do. Like that seems about where it was for Modern Warfare, taking out Warzone and shit like that, right? But like for like the MP side of the house or Pro League, seems like kind of on par.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I just think it's good that we didn't see like an Overwatch type fall off after all the hate that's been like spouted from players, you know, owners and fans alike.
Listen,
if like people would just like not tune out and not care because when you're not playing the game, and I think you and I can both attest to this, when you're not playing the game from a casual fun standpoint like we normally are, I am a little less interested in being engaged in like every single match because like I don't know it nearly as well as I would if I'm playing, because I'm also then watching for like my own strategic value and learning something out of it. I'm purely just watching because now I'm just a fan of the players. Like I enjoy the players.
That's anyone, right? You play the game, you're gonna watch it a little bit more. But you know, you'll always tune in for OpTic versus Faze. That's one thing you gotta know about.
Even if I hated Call of Duty, I would still be tuning in for that matchup.
Like the COD fan they're so jaded. It's a jaded group of people. So you're gonna see the pros hate the game. You're gonna see fans hate the game. But when it all comes down to it, they're gonna play. I forget who it was, but there was some pro who said it best. They were like, "This game effing sucks, but what the hell else am I gonna do?" Like, isn't that the truth when it comes to Call of Duty? Like, if that's your game and that's the game you've played forever now, what else are you gonna do? Like, you can switch to Halo that has 3 maps on it. So, you know, at least be happy that you have more than that.
Yeah,
so.
You think all the people that swapped from COD to Halo at the very beginning are thrilled about that move right now?
You know, I don't know from an esports side.
Halo's going to be dead in the year. Call of Duty is going to be a banger in November with a new game.
Yeah, I mean, from that perspective.
Right. Like at least Call of Duty, you know, you have another chance coming up to like enjoy what you're playing. If you're playing
Halo.
If you're playing Halo right now and you feel like Halo's dead, what's it going to look like a year from now?
Man, and I don't get it too, because like they announced the Halo Esports announced that they're now taking applications for the new partner teams. Like I think they're going to get like 2 new teams or whatever. And I'm like, who's applying for that? Like what org is applying for that right now?
Pioneers.
Right. They don't have a Valorant team, so I guess they could, but it's like who wants to be a part of it? And I feel bad for Halo Esports because I know it's not their fault. They're just working with what they got, much like every other game in esports. So it's But let's not get depressed about Halo because Call of Duty had a win. This was, again, even in like people in Discord were like, "Oh, did you see this? Did you see this Valorant match this weekend? Oh, did you see this?" No, I didn't actually. because for the first time in a long time, I really only focused on Call of Duty.
Yeah, it was great. No,
That's
it
it.
was not, like I said, it was, I mean, they're just so good. Doesn't matter what game they're playing. Like, just watching these guys play, they're just so good. And I
And
still
to us
can't believe.
casuals, like it's all Call of Duty, right? Like they're gonna
Yeah.
bitch about all this little stuff and little mechanics and things like that, but it's Call of. I mean, guys, it's Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to like rain on anyone's parade here when they're saying that this Call of Duty sucks compared to this one or that one. 99% of the people playing them can't tell the difference. Like you could put a reskin on them and they would be like, "Oh, this feels amazing." And like, joke's on you because this is Vanguard, but with Modern Warfare skins. So, GG. So there's that. All right. Oh, and Maven and Joe is back. So
That was great to see.
there's that. Back in their old blah 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 blah. There's that. All right. Let's get into some e-news to wrap up the show. In CS, a new record has been set as 1,012 teams have signed up for the EU Open qualifier for the upcoming major.
Insane.
This is where all those banned Russian players are going.
Yeah.
They're all going one country
It
over
makes
and
me
signing
nervous
up.
of how many teams are going to be hacking in this thing now.
Oh
that I'm
man, you
nervous
know
for.
it's gonna be a nightmare in those early rounds.
It's based off like normal percentages. That means about 250 teams will be cheating in this event.
In Valorant news, Pioneers have exited Valorant. They will no longer have a team. Announced though, it kind of like was a double one. They dropped their roster, but they do plan or they're looking at returning for the next VCT stage. So this,
And I want to save this topic, Tim,
okay.
for like a conversational topic
Yes.
because I feel like it's a good one and we both have strong thoughts about this particular move. And I think we should get into that as a topic at some point
All right,
soon.
we'll table it for next week then, because yes, the life cycle that the VCT offers a roster who fails to qualify puts orgs, especially smaller ones like the Pioneers, in a very tough situation. So yeah, we'll save it. Table the conversation. Remember it. In other news though, for Valorant, next big update, expect some possible meta changes. Yoru, Tens was playing him in scrims. So if I feel like if Tens is doing it, then at least the rest of NA will follow.
Not just the Yoru buffs, but it's also the nerfs that took place with other agents, right? Like we saw a pretty decent Viper nerf. We saw a little bit of an Omen buff. We saw a big Astra nerf. So I'm really curious to see how this affects the meta. I don't know if Yoru's like necessarily going to just be a meta character. He's going to be a great troll.
I think very
character
map situation. I think.
Yeah, like he has like some really good uses on bind with any teleporting type map and things like that. He could take huge advantage of. But fun to see nonetheless. So I'm excited to see with the new changes how it affects the meta, because I do think it will affect the meta.
And you knew it was going to happen because he was literally the only agent that wasn't selected once in champs.
Yeah.
Every agent was selected at least once. He was none. So you knew he was going to get some love eventually. In Call of Duty, this is an insane little note that I guess there was never a leaving penalty, Anuj, for ranked mode. Well, however, they are implementing a leaver penalty. So if you quit a game early, you're now going to get your SR will get penalized for it. What they are doing though, and this is genius, is they still have the data. Just because you weren't getting punished doesn't mean they weren't taking notes. So they have the receipts, Anuj, and they are going back and retroactively punishing people for the games they left. The top culprit for this disconnected more than 280 times. That son of a bitch was leaving more than 208. I mean, I'm assuming every match he was about to lose, he just left.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was.
Because there's no penalty for it. So he would play, and as soon as he thought they were losing, he left, joined a new game. So his record was probably like, 400-0. Like the guy was probably top ranked in the world at this point. So they are hitting him with a 2,000 SR penalty.
Basically dropping him to the lowest rank.
So I looked at like how their charts work. To even be in the highest rank in the game, to the third highest rank from the game, you have to be at least 2,000 SR minimum to be in the third highest rank. So, I mean, say he's even there, which he's probably higher if you've never lost a game. That dude is getting hammered. Like,
he's going to be at the bottom of the barrel.
He is going all the way down. So good for him. Good on Call of Duty for actually, look, it's silly that you didn't have it at the start, but the fact that you are retro implementing it, I feel like is like a no harm, no foul, and actually it's kind of funny. So
I mean, no one's going to be upset about that.
No, it's actually kind of awesome. So I wish every game would do that. Aches, formerly COD Pro, recently retired. Aches has announced that he's joining Ubisoft to work on X Defiant. That's their free-to-play game that they announced at E3 2 years ago? Last year?
I think that was last year.
Recently?
But, regardless of... I think this is great for X Defiant because when we both watched at least that short gameplay trailer, we were both like, okay, not that interested. So look, maybe he brings something to the table.
That's good. Look, I like it though because so many times we see these pros retire and then it's like, follow me on Twitch. I retired. I'm a content creator. Come follow me now. The fact that he's going and kind of giving back to the scene and not even just Call of Duty, but just getting back into competitive side of things to improve possibly another game. I like it. I wish
there's going to be like a game mode called like the GA game mode. Like something Call of Duty related mixed in here.
I wish more pros would do that so we maybe see a little bit, better.
They know, they obviously know the competitive standpoint, right? And understand competition. So
I like
he'll be looking for fair gunplay and this and that. I think he'll provide a good perspective. That's probably a nice addition to the team.
In FGC news, this insane stat. MK Leo's incredible streak comes to an end, Anuj, at the Smash Summit 4. He ended up placing 4th place. So what streak had ended, you ask? He went 35 tournaments, almost 3 years worth of events, making the grand finals.
It's insane.
35 events he made the grand finals. Not necessarily
and it's not even
winning.
like he bombed out. He went out in the semis.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's the funny thing. Is like everyone's like, like the headline that I saw was like MK Leo's worst finish in 3 years, and I was like, oh my god, what happened? Where did he go? And then it was like 4th place, and I was like, oh, okay, okay. Yeah, so 3 years, finally didn't make a grand finals. Insane.
That really is.
Like
Seems like one of those records that also does not get broken anytime soon.
No, absolutely not. So thoughts and prayers for MK Leo. He's really struggling right now. So hopefully he bounces back. Maybe he can make the top 3 next event. In other news, Prime Video announced a God of War series is in the works, live action.
Look, I want to be real here. I'm losing more and more interest that like now all of a sudden every game is being turned into like a TV series. I kind of liked it when it was just like 1 or 2 randomly here and there. They were spread out over years before we got something new.
And properly done.
Now I feel like they're going to have shitty writing, average acting, and it's just going to make for like a bad production series. And I need somebody to kind of prove me wrong, but I'm a little hesitant that like all of a sudden like 6 different games over the last year have been announced to turn into a TV series. Well, we'll see. We'll let you know soon about Halo and go from there.
Yeah, and you know what's weird? It's like I haven't watched the League of Legends one. I started it, haven't finished it. Season 2 of Dota came out, haven't started that. Resident Evil came out, didn't start that. Wait,
Resident Evil's like a live action?
Yeah, right? That's on Netflix, I thought. There's something Resident Evil on Netflix. I haven't watched it.
Hold on. You keep going.
I think it looks really... Yeah. Anyways, but I agree. Also, there are certain games that I feel like you can do this. God of War is also such a cinematic game to begin with. Like, video games have hit a point where they're good at storytelling on their own. You don't need to redo it into a show. Like, it's not going to live up to what the game was because the game was too good. So save your money and don't do it.
Resident Evil had a animated.
Oh, is it animated? Okay. They are doing a live action one though.
There is a live action one coming out, and I'm gonna hit the remind me button on it.
Okay. But the animated one is out. Okay.
Yeah.
That animated one does not look good. RIP to David Bloggs, the co-inventor of the Ethernet, passed away this week at 71. Stay hard,
Officially,
David Bloggs.
Officially unplugged.
You forget how young like the internet is, you know? Like the
It's crazy, dude.
the fact
Yeah.
that like the dude who invented the Ethernet is still alive, like
Seems like that was like 100 years ago.
that's
but it was,
71,
like,
relatively young in
Yeah.
today's terms. So
Man is a genius, and we thank him so much for his contributions to the world. So
without him, we'd
Yeah.
all be on Wi-Fi. So
imagine that.
DreamHack would be terrible.
There wouldn't be one.
No, definitely not. Blizzard announced their spring 2022 roadmap. This is just spring. Like, I can't wait to see summer and fall at this point.
Don't worry, there won't be one for another 3 years.
For real, this is like the first. This is basically what they. I did
was the biggest part of the roadmap. That's why it's obviously this is the
I
one
did
that's being
chuckle
shared.
because like I saw this and I'm like, hold on, guys. Like, what's BlizzCon now? Like, you guys are shooting your wad too soon here. Like, wait for BlizzCon. You got nothing else. So March 15th, we're gonna have Hearthstone's expansion revealed. March 18th, the Arena World Champs will begin for WoW. April 19th, the WoW expansion will be announced. And in May, at some point in May, we're going to get a Warcraft mobile game reveal.
So they did say it's Warcraft.
It says Warcraft, but like all the other ones have like the game logo next to it. So like Hearthstone logo, WoW logo. This says Warcraft, but then a question mark. So I'm assuming it just means Warcraft related mobile game, not necessarily, hey, we're going to put Warcraft on your phone and now you can play an RTS on your phone. I'm assuming it's a...
I'm very excited nonetheless. I mean, like, don't care about the Hearthstone expansion reveal. Arena World Champions, great. It's like ongoing, so it doesn't, in the sense of like, that's not new. That happens every year.
Right.
WoW expansion, very exciting because that is about a year earlier than I'm sure they had originally planned, but at least they've taken note that your game is
an announcement,
ass and trash. No, but an announcement to come like now is pretty nice. Like we're gonna have a whole not expansion, but we're gonna have a whole, like, you know, they do 3 major updates during an expansion. They basically cut this one down to like 2. So they're also understanding that something's got to change. Excited to see what it is. I'm also probably going to be super hyped up, Tim. I'm letting you know, but I need you to calm me down and be like, let's see how they implement all these systems they're talking about before we get too excited. I just want you to keep that in the back of your mind now. You need to control my emotions for what we see on the 19th.
I will do that. I will be the party pooper for you.
Thank you.
Snoop Dogg officially joins Faze, so he was repping their necklace at the Super Bowl, so I guess it was just a matter of time, but he officially joins them as a content manager. Not really sure what that means. Like, I don't think he's going to the office managing their content, but we'll see.
And they called it content creator / manager or content manager, and I was like, okay, his content is the fact that he's Snoop Dogg. That's
I was
kind of
gonna
cool
say,
enough,
like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And then board of directors. So there's that.
It's a great addition. I mean, who's gonna have anything negative to say about that?
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Snoop Dogg. And in other news, Nvidia was hacked over the week. You would think the ransom would be like, I need $1 billion, or give me all your 3090 Ti's, right? Or something like that. Like, I want free graphics cards for life, or I'm releasing everything. No. This is like the nerdiest blackmailer in the world, because he said that he's going to give out all of their like plans and shit unless they make their drivers open source. Like,
Doing it for the good. He probably has some project at work that he really needs, and he's like, "F it, it's gonna be easier to hack them instead of learning what I need to do right now."
Like, I understand that there's probably like a method to the madness here, and like someone who knows about coding and all that is like, "No, Tim, you don't understand. This would be revolutionary that we could see this stuff." But I just love the fact that this guy was able to hack into NVIDIA enough to threaten them. First of all, like it must have been pretty deep in it that he had enough information to threaten them with. And then to follow up with, "I just want open source drivers." Like that's peak nerd level right there.
Yep.
So I love it. I don't really know whatever happened to it, but I love it. I guess I'll see at the next NVIDIA driver update that happens every 48 hours. So I'll know here soon enough. But that does it for episode 375 of the Center Ring Esports podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Whether you skipped around, listened to the whole thing, love you all the same. Thank you to Philly Esports for always sponsoring the show. Check them out, phillyesports.gg. Sign up for their latest tournaments. Follow us on Twitter at the Center Ring and all that fun stuff. Join the Discord, blah, blah, blah. We will be back next week talking stuff. Maybe we have some conversations on the table. FGC, VCT, we'll figure it out. So, who knows? Who knows? Well, that's for next week. That's for next week. Until then, everyone, thank you again for listening. Love you. We'll talk to you next time. For Anuj, I'm Tim. Bye. Okay. Edit this real quick. Man, we're going back into work. You know, this week is when I start going back into work.
This sucks.
I know. It's gonna be every Wednesday. We're only going in 2 days a week, but that still fucking sucks. But
It's like, why?
I mean, it almost makes it worse, right? Like,
It's like, that means you don't really need us back.
right. So you're admitting that we're okay for 3 days of the week, but those 2 days, we need you there. So it sucks. This week I'm only going back Thursday because they're splitting us up in case things don't go right, which better chance than none that they don't. But man, I've been like starting to like wake up a little earlier because it's just, you know, on those days I'm going to have to, like, I'm used to, like, I work at 9, I get up at like 8:45, you know, and I just roll out of bed and go to work pretty much. What up, gameplay? Thank you so much for just stopping by, even for 5 minutes. Thank you for stopping by. But yeah, so going back to work. And like,
That's like, I think if they told us we were going back to work, they would have to like keep a close eye on mental health issues.
so that's the funny thing is they said that half the reason we're going back is to improve our mental health. That they think being back in the office will be better, which doesn't make any sense.
They're the only persons in the world that think that.
Right. Like maybe your mental health when you can take a 4-hour lunch. Like I can't do that. But, and like in the, like they're like have all these, because some people are already back today, right? Like my department's going back 2 days a week. Some are there already. And they have like all these like activities and fun things planned to do when we come back. And it's just like, I swear to God, like do not talk to me when I walk through that door. Like this is the last place I want to be right now. Like do not talk to me.
I found something really cool in Lost Ark I need to share with you.
Oh yeah?
There is a feature that I think we talked about briefly called knowledge transfer. Do you know what that is?
I mean, I saw it in, where do I see it at?
Your stronghold,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, yeah.
So that allows you to create for each level 50 character you have, including the power pass. So that'll give you 3 level 50s, right? Your character that you have now, plus whatever 2 you use with your power passes, right? So you'll have 3 50s.
Right.
For each of those 50s, the knowledge transfer allows you to create an additional 50. So it's a quest, not a quest chain. It's basically you know how you send your shit out to sea and it
Right,
takes like
right,
8
right.
hours. It's a time thing basically. You can create another one for each, like for 3 more classes. The cool thing, however, so it's not just that it's cool that we're going to get 6 free max level characters, right? Well, your first one plus 5 others now. But with the ones that you level up through the power pass or through the knowledge transfer, you can then go back to them, and for gold, you can skip the quests that come at each mile marker, you know, 460, 600.
Oh, really?
Like you can skip that part of it, and it's kind of badass. Like now, I got to level tier 2 on my mage, and now I don't have to go do that 2.5 hour quest line. I can just like start getting gear for him or doing whatever I
Right.
wanted to do.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, like, but you can only do that for then like now it's kind of expensive. It was like 1,000 gold or something to do the level 600 one. But I was like, man, like, okay, that makes playing your alts like significantly easier because now you just have to worry about getting them like item level, but you don't have to like think, oh, I have to do like 8 hours of quest if I make a new character.
Oh, that's cool, Wolf. I have never worked in a warehouse per se.
Yeah, well, I mean, like when I was 15, turning 16. No, I must have been 16. I was 16. I worked at Gap and I worked in the stock because I didn't want to be on the sales floor. And so I would have to go in at like 4:30 in the morning and receive like the clothes from the truck and then just stack them in the back. And then I would be off by like 9 a.m. and have the whole day free. But that was like only for the summer.
I was gonna say, how'd you do that with school?
When school started, I went to the sales floor.
"100 Thieves" is having a Attack on Titan collab. Man, they're all okay. They have a white one. That's the thing, man.
I tweeted about that. Like, that's cool and all, but now I know how they're like the second it drops, everything's gonna be bought in 30 seconds. So if you don't, or if you're not spamming, and still you might not even get lucky at that point.
No, and they're like hoodies, like bro. All right.
Hoodies
Well,
are sick.
what?
The hoodies look sick.
I mean, the hoodies look sick, but
How much were they?
I don't even know. I don't know if it says on that page yet.
Oh, or what were you saying?
No, it doesn't. This is just like the lookbook. They don't have the prices out yet. I'm sure they're like $80.
Oh, see, I was thinking they'd be like 100 to 120.
Let me see what their normal hoodies are. Oh, okay. No, yeah, their normal hoodie is $90. So okay,
Yeah.
it's gonna be, bro. Their normal hoodie, it's a joke. I just no knock on anyone who buys this stuff, but It is literally a gray hoodie with 100 Thieves up in the corner for $90. Like what?
That's crazy.
Kids today have too much money if they're buying this. Oh well. Oh well. All right. I'm going to kill the stream so we can get to editing and chill. Everyone, have a wonderful night. Love your face. We'll talk to you later.